I was
happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
to keep on because
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
it's got a lot of power.
Come on, Greg. You're asking a guy whose team name is Pellet Envy. So obviously the answer you're going to get is no.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
Charbono. It's all about the Charbono, dude. I just like being anywhere with Junior, Senior, and Diva.
Sounds like a whole other type of movie.
Wow. Yeah, really.
You could use it to fight off creeping marauders looking to take your steaks off your grills.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
How hot is Kelly Ripa in person?
Kelly Ripa is super hot. She's absolutely delicious.
Oh, yeah.
You could butter base her and pint Twinkies with that girl. She's delish.
Well, to put it briefly, let's just say I went to school.
There's no Robert Porker who's in charge of pig meat out there.
Is it not correct to properly classify you as Harry Sue's pit bitch?
I was his pit bitch for 6 weeks. I have no shame. I was. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated.
Succulent fish. What?
This right here is the premier media outlet.
So did you see this one? Tiger Woods has gone ahead and checked into sex rehab. Hey, Tiger, guess what? Everybody's addicted to sex.
I'm shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
Centralites, welcome to After Dark. Oh, yeah. Just past the top of the hour, about 5 minutes past 10. 55 minutes till the top of the hour. Barbecue Central show After Dark right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Network. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you stuck around for the first part of the show tonight. Heard the travesty that was the first portion of the Ribs Roundtable. I think I dropped an F-bomb, if memory serves me correctly. I think I was like, you know what? Let's just get on with it. Just let's do this thing. I believe I did. Watch out. Rimpy's hot night. I think I got about 50 emails going, did you just drop the F-bomb? That was awesome. Yeah, look, maybe I did and maybe I didn't. But all you'll ever know is that the podcast version will only start from segment 2.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
All right. Let's get After Dark up and running here. The giveaway portion of the show, which obviously didn't happen here during the 9 o'clock hour because of the Barbecue Roundtable, will also take place here tonight. We have the regular amounts of giveaways. We have the Cosmos Q Injection Pack. We have the Whiskey Bent Barbecue T-shirt. We have Greenleaf Barbecue Smokewood products. All that great stuff to give away. Plus, Dan from Three Eyes Barbecue said that he would also be willing to give away a pound of his rub and a T-shirt as well, so we certainly appreciate that. Number to jump in After Dark, toll-free 877-448-0433, 877-448-0433. My guest joining me here in just a second will be Forrest Dillmore from Forrest's Fine Foods. He is a competitor on the Florida Barbecue Association. That's the FBA for you insiders. But more importantly, and the reason I wanted to have him on tonight is because he does a lot of Dutch oven cooking, which is a form of live fire outdoor cooking. And we all know that this show is about outdoor live fire cooking, so why not have an expert in the Dutch oven thing? Thought that would be kind of a unique change of pace. Plus, we can get his insight on the FBA and how that might differ with some of the other sanctioning bodies out there. But if you want to call in and claim your prizes, you can do that. Again, toll-free 877-448-0433. All right, let's go ahead and jump to the hotline. Joining me now is the pitmaster of Forrest's Fine Foods, and he was second overall in the 2009 Florida Barbecue Association Team of the Year. It's Forrest Dillmore, everybody. Forrest, how are you tonight?
Hey, Greg, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks for joining me. And a number of things that we can actually talk about, which is always a good thing. But first, Forrest, why don't you go ahead and, covering the barbecue side of things, is barbecue something that was kind of always prevalent in your family growing up and something you just kept the tradition alive, or were you exposed to it at some other point in your life? What's the history of barbecue for Forrest?
Well, really, to tell you the truth, I was exposed to it later in life. I was raised in the Panhandle of Florida, where I've always lived. Was raised in the meat business. My daddy was in the meat business, and so I was around a lot of meat processing, growing up, and and on through my earlier years. And then I never did really get into barbecue much until I guess probably about 10 or 12 years ago. I was real active in the local cattlemen's association, and we smoked a lot of steaks, and I was on the cooking team. And we smoked a lot of steaks for various events and functions, and then from that I got my own pit and started doing some experimenting, and then the competition part come along. My buddy Walt Lofton up in Dothan, he basically presented me a double dog dare to go to a competition. And the rest is kind of history, as I say.
It wasn't a triple dog dare you?
It could have been a triple dog dare. I respond better to triple dog dares. It could have been a triple dog.
Yeah, we all know the etiquette of daring. So for you to go double dog dare must have meant you had an inkling of wanting to get into it in the first place. Otherwise, triple dog dare would have taken care of it. Now, let me jump back here for a second. You made two specific references to smoking steak. Am I not to confuse that with grilling then?
Right, it's not to be confused with grilling. It's actual smoking, indirect. Just like barbecue in a Boston butt. Indirect heat. The flames never touching it like it would in grilling. Smoked steaks are awesome.
Are you using a thicker cut of steak to smoke it, or is it a traditional inch and a quarter cut?
Traditionally, a ribeye. Traditionally, a ribeye about a 3/4 to 1 inch cut.
And how long of a process does it take, and what kind of a temperature are you smoking a steak at, and what kind of wood you using? That's very intriguing. Well,
you cook them till they're done. It's just like in anything else. You cook them till they're done. That's a pretty stupid question there, Greg, but you cook them till they're done. We're generally at 275, about an hour 15 minutes with oak wood.
Do you have a finishing internal temperature? Do you take it to 125, or do you just kind of stick your finger in the middle of it?
Take it to about 140. A well done. A lot of people like a well done steak. A lot of people like a medium rare steak, but a steak cooked much past 140, and plus if you hold them, for any length of time, they're going to continue to cook. And you're going to lose a lot of your natural juices and so forth, which, natural juices equal flavor. So if you take them much further than about 140, 145 degrees, you're going backwards.
And the pit temperature you were trying to keep it at was around 240, you said?
Around 275.
275? All right. I'm making notes here so I can try it over the weekend.
A little harder cook.
Yeah, very interested in trying this perhaps even over the weekend, and you're using a traditional ribeye cut, so I am making my notes for myself this weekend. We're talking with Forrest Dillmore, pitmaster of Forrest Fine Foods. Now, let's go ahead and transition over to competition barbecue a little bit. Obviously, you do very well down there in the FBA. Tough to beat either, depending on what year you got into it. It was either tough to beat homebbq.com, and then, of course, transitioned over to beating Rob Bagby with Swamp Boys. He is Team of the Year running now 2 years in a row. You finished second overall last year, so certainly a great showing in the FBA. And that seems to be, one of a very few other sanctioning bodies out there that compete with the KCBS, and certainly understand when there's not that many KCBS events, especially kind of down there in your neck of the woods in that tri-state area, that you have to, if you're into the competition barbecue scene, you need to kind of develop your own, and they've done a very good job at doing that. And there's a different scoring system down there. There's no garnish involved. What do you have you taken part in Kansas City Barbecue Society events in the past there, Forrest?
Yes, I have, Greg. Matter of fact, this past weekend I cooked the KCBS contest, and I enjoyed cooking KCBS. Last year I was more focused on FBA and Team of the Year, and I didn't cook any KCBS last year. This year I cooked the one this weekend, and I'm already scheduled to cook one the end of next month. And I may cook 3 or 4 KCBS contests this year. I'm still focused on FBA Team of the Year, but I like doing KCBS. I talked to a lot of KCBS teams, regular KCBS teams this weekend, and a lot of people, are talking about the rabbit food. They don't like the garnish. And in FBA we don't use any garnish. There's nothing but meat in the box allowed. But I kind of like the change of having some garnish to an extent, and I look at the garnish as not something that I have to do extra. I look at it as something that can help me. If I've got a blemish, like a piece of chicken with a blemish on it, I can hide it with that garnish, or I can make the garnish work for me.
And I just had Dan Hickson and John Patty from JP Custom Smoke, Dan from Three Eyes Barbecue, and we were kind of talking about that as well. And John said that he could be just as happy as having it go away altogether and not having to deal with the garnish. Dan seemed ambivalent. But having competed yourself in both FBA that doesn't have to have or that doesn't require your garnish at all, and technically KCBS doesn't require it, it's listed as optional, but I think we both know that that's probably not the case really. You prefer the garnish over the non-garnish then, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I don't necessarily prefer it, but I do like it. I have nothing against it. The only negative thing about garnish is where I'm at. Here in the small rural Panhandle area of Florida, there's not a good supply of garnish. Like last week, in preparation for the contest this past weekend, I go to the local Walmart, which is about the mainstay of grocery shopping, nowadays around here, looking for some garnish, and the stuff that was in the store needed throwing out. We just don't have a real good selection of that type of stuff like for instance a bigger city or bigger metropolitan area would have, perhaps.
Like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, you mean?
Right, exactly.
Are you a parsley guy or a lettuce guy when you're stuffing the box?
Well, I like parsley, but this past weekend I got some parsley. I wasn't really happy with it. It was pretty limp. I tried bringing it back to life, and I did bring it back some, but I wasn't exactly happy with it. I had some green leaf lettuce to fall back on, and I ended up using green leaf. But I think I'd have been better off with the parsley. I like the parsley better.
All right, so certainly you're a competitor, and you've done very well there in the FBA. You're looking for Team of the Year honors this year. You're at least competing for it. Rob Bagby has definitely proven to be one of the toughest customers out there. Not only does he win quite often out there.
Rob is very tough.
Oh, yes.
He's a good guy, a good friend, and he is tough.
And he's also very tough on the KCBS circuit as well. He can win over there, and he places very well. Do you see, certainly we have a long season yet to go, but is he beatable this year, do you think?
I didn't catch all of that, Greg. You gargled up pretty bad on me, but I got the last part. Is he beatable this year?
Yeah.
Do I think? Of course. Anybody's beatable, which right now Rub is in second place in Team of the Year standings. Bubba Q is first place.
Right.
Which Bubba Q, another FBA team, moved up to number 1 in the national barbecue rankings, where Rub was there 62 or 63 consecutive weeks. Bubba Q has took over the lead. I'm coming up, trying to get past sixth place in the national rankings. Hopefully soon I'll make it to the top five. Rub is number 2. I'm number 3. Currently I'm 1 point behind Rub.
Yep. So certainly,
anybody's beatable.
Yeah, very close.
Kevin with homebbq.com. Kevin was invincible for 5 years.
Yeah.
Until Rub figured it out. So anybody's beatable. It's barbecue. It's nothing more, nothing less.
It's one of the other reasons that I wanted to have you on tonight was, the show kind of focuses, mainly around barbecue. Sometimes we might focus a little bit more on the competition side of things. But, it's something that lends news to the show every week. Something's going on within the competition scene. You get some interviews. And then, of course, we focus on the backyard, too. But, one of the things that I find very interesting, I don't really know a lot about, and I would have to imagine that perhaps some of the Centralites in the listening audience don't know a lot about. I mean, you hear about it on the periphery, but you never really hear anybody talk about it.
Are you there, Greg?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Hello, Greg.
Hello. Can you hear me? Here we go. Going to dump. He's out of here. Hopefully that's not a cell phone. I hate that. All right, we're going to hook up with Forrest Dillmore here in just 1 second. Getting ready to transition over into the Dutch oven cooking because it's one of those things that you see on the every once in a while you're watching an old Western and you see it happening and you're like, man, chuck wagon and old Sparky's cooking a bowl of Texas Red over the fire and a tripod stand and all that great stuff. And then, you don't really think about it too much anymore. And I guess technically that's not Dutch oven cooking per se. But, it's one of those things where, you're putting charcoal on top of it, you're cooking it that way. And Forrest has quite a bit of extensive experience. If you go to his website, he has a whole hot link section that allows you to go over and check him out at Forrest Fine Foods. And you can do that and see kind of, what he's into on the Dutch oven cooking side of things. I mean, look, if you're a fan of Dutch oven cooking and you're a fan of outdoor cooking, well, perhaps I should say if you're a fan of outdoor cooking in general, then, you need to be exploring all your options. And especially, barbecuers, indeed, probably more than anything else, are some of the biggest pyromaniacs ever in the face of the earth. So, why not get an extra push, an extra fix, if you will, by learning how to do a little Dutch oven cooking? I mean, why not? I know I want to. I got to figure out where I can get my Dutch ovens at. Can you get Dutch ovens at Target? I don't know about that. All right, we're going to retry Forrest Dillmore here. See if we can pick him up having a little issue here. Here we go. We should have him here in just a second here.
Hello.
Forrest.
Yes.
Look, if you don't want to talk to me, buddy, you don't have to hang up on me.
Hey, where did you go? You just hung up on me.
The magic of space and the internet, I believe, my friend.
Ain't it, though?
All right, so we were
I'm glad you got me back.
Yeah, we were just getting ready to transition over into the Dutch oven thing, and I was saying, like a lot of people see it on the periphery, but don't really have a source, an expert source to go talk to about it. I mean, how were you introduced into the world of Dutch oven cooking?
Well, I was introduced one day. I was at work with my boss, and this was probably 10 years ago, and by the way, I tell people that as I explain my abilities as being an average barbecuer, but an exceptional Dutch oven cook. I see my abilities as a Dutch oven cook much greater. Me and my boss was talking one day, and he at one time he was highly involved in scouts, and he talked about this guy that would come along on some of their scout outings from time to time, and he'd bring a Dutch oven and he'd cook peach cobbler. Well, at this point, I had never even seen anybody, no picture or anything of somebody cooking on a Dutch oven, but it intrigued me, and so I had to have one. I went and got me one. I cooked me a peach cobbler with a simple recipe. It was so sweet I couldn't eat it. I had to throw it out. So I tried another one, and I got better. And then I got to experimenting with other cobblers and other flavors, and it went from that one Dutch oven to well over 100 now.
100 Dutch ovens.
Yeah, 100 plus.
Holy crap! Now, where do you score a Dutch oven at? I mean, you get that at Target, or you have to go to a specialty store, or where do you hook up with those?
Well, you can get a Dutch oven from some department stores like Walmart. Once in a while, in the sporting goods, you might run across the Dutch oven. Cabela's, Bass Pro, any of your outdoor stores, Gander Mountain. You can order them direct from Lodge, Camp Chef. Matter of fact, I make regular orders from Lodge up in Lynchburg. Matter of fact, I've cooked on them so much, and I use them so much, and I'm not a good salesperson myself, but a product that sells itself, like a good Dutch oven product, I can sell those fairly well, and I've become a Lodge dealer in the last 2 or 3 years.
There you go. Now, in your estimation, kind of breaking it down a little bit, not to get too intricate, but what makes or what separates a good Dutch oven from a bad Dutch oven?
A good quality of steel. You've got good steel. Just like in anything else that's made out of metal or steel, you've got good stuff and you've got bad stuff. There's some, the products. Well, for instance, the Lodge products. When I bought my first one, I think I paid about $29 for it. Now that same, I can't even get it dealer cost for that now. That same oven is about $80, and anything the last 5 years, anything with a lot of steel in it has went up in price. It's directly related to the price of steel. There's some cheaper products out there. Some I think Cold Mountain, some of the bioclassic stuff. There's a lot of imported stuff. Some of it's decent. Some of it you can pick around, but a lot of it, if you just go pick up one, you'll liable to get one that you're gonna burn biscuits on one side of it, and the other side they're not gonna be ready. So,
as I'm looking at it as a novice, a complete novice, if I want to go out and buy one over the weekend, if I'm picking one up, how is it going to say this kind of sucks and this one really rocks? How would I be able to tell by picking one up if one is quality or not? Is it name brand really?
Yeah, pretty much name brand. A novice, people that are new at it, they ask me, well, what should I get? I always, not that I sell the Lodge product or that I'm endorsing the Lodge product, but the Lodge product is, it's American made, and it's a good product, and it's a good casting of steel, of a good casting of cast iron, and it retains heat better than a lot of other brands. It's more uniform in cooking, and it's a good starter. If you know how to control heat, like somebody, an experienced Dutch oven cook that can control heat, I can cook on any of them. I can cook on the imports, that don't cook as well, and with fairly good success. But somebody starting, they gonna burn everything.
All right. So how do you use a Dutch oven? What's the firing source? How do you heat it up, and how are you cooking in it?
Well, it's basically a Dutch oven is basically a cooking vessel, and I tell lots of people, and I do classes from time to time, and one of the first things I tell people when I put on the class is, if you can cook it in a microwave or a toaster oven or a convection oven or on the stove, or anywhere. If you can cook it anywhere, you can cook it in a Dutch oven. It's all it is. It's a different form of heating vessel. You can use wood or charcoal. I prefer charcoal because it's more uniform. Matter of fact, I use hardwood lump briquettes because I get more BTUs out of them. I get a longer burn, and I get a more uniform heat. And I use that for a source of heat of course, on the bottom and on the top. Which of course it depends on what you're doing. If you're frying, you don't need any heat on the top. But if you're baking, you need some heat, a little bit of heat on the bottom and a little bit more heat on the top.
So how are you setting it up? Do you put it in like a Weber kettle grill and stage the charcoal there? Do you need to like dig out a fire pit Willie in your backyard? What's the deal on that?
Well, pretty much any way that anything that you might have. It depends on your surroundings. I actually have Dutch oven tables that I built that are all steel tables. Plate steel with legs. They stand about 18 inches in height, which is a very short table, especially for a guy that's 6'2". But by the time I put a Dutch oven on the table, and I've got a lid lifter in my hand, I don't have to bend over a whole lot to work that pot. So that's the reason why it's so short. I cooked for a long time on the ground until it was about to kill my back, and when I was running one or two Dutch ovens, that was all right. But when I started running 18 or 20 Dutch ovens at one time, all of them on the ground it just don't work.
Yeah, no kidding. And you're cooking, anything from, like you said, you're baking bread or you're making a roast, and then you're doing potatoes in one and dessert in another.
Right. You name it. You name it. I pretty well cooked it in it, or I'm certainly not afraid to. Matter of fact, this Thursday, I'm leaving Thursday night for a FBA contest in Claremont, but Thursday for lunch, I'm doing a catering gig for 150 people in Dutch ovens, full course.
What are you cooking in that?
I'm cooking pulled pork and barbecue beans, coleslaw, which of course coleslaw won't be done in the Dutch oven, but and peach cobbler.
All right, so the pulled pork, are you just throwing a whole bunch of pork shoulders in one and cooking them that way, or is there a special process to that?
Well, there's a little bit of special process, but it's it's much like the regular process of barbecue. It's about the same effect of when you're barbecuing in a like cooking a Boston butt in a smoker. When you foil it, you've basically got the butt full the whole cook in the when you're cooking it in the Dutch oven.
And does every pot get the same amount of charcoal, and you have to gauge time as far as how things are cooking, or how do you go about that? That seems to be like the main hinge point of the whole deal, is how much charcoal you're putting above and below.
Well, it depends. It depends on different variables. Your outside conditions, your air temperature, your air humidity has a lot to do with it. If you're in wind, you're definitely going, because your coals are exposed to all that. But the biggest thing, the biggest variable between different pots is, that determines how much heat you need is the size of the pot. Of course, the bigger the size of the pot you're working, the more coals you need. And there's several different easy to use formulas, for novice people to use to determine that. Say, for instance, a 12-inch Dutch oven. If you're going to be baking in a 12-inch Dutch oven, you take 12, which is the actual diameter of the pot. It's a number 12 that's got a 12 stamped on the lid.
Mm-hmm.
You take that 12, multiply it by 2, you come up to 24.
Right.
You take 1/3 of that 24, which is 8, and you put that on the bottom. And you take 2/3 of it, which is approximately 16. 16 to 18, 8 to 10 on the bottom, 16 to 18 on the top. Arrange them in a consistent pattern, and that generally will equal plus or minus 25 degrees of an ambient oven temperature of 350 degrees. And pretty much anything you're going to be baking or cooking in a Dutch oven, you can do at 350 degrees.
And did you find that it adds a depth of taste or a different flavor profile to let's for instance use the peach cobbler? If I was making it in the oven at 350 degrees versus making it in a Dutch oven at 350 degrees, is there going to be a bigger or a deeper breadth of flavor in the Dutch oven than it would be just in my regular house oven?
Well, there's a lot of controversy on taste out of Dutch ovens. I think there is. And I've started the last year or two. I've started using a lot of cast aluminum because I can get that cast aluminum in big, huge sizes. I got some pots that I'll be using Thursday in that catering that are 29 quarts in volume. Those pots are made for cooking for large crowds, and it's hard to handle. It's hard enough to handle a cast aluminum one, but take a cast iron that weighs two-thirds more dry weight, it's even harder to handle. And there's a lot of controversy about taste in a cast aluminum versus taste in a cast iron. A lot of people say that there's no difference, but I tell you there is a difference. There's a distinct difference, especially if your cast iron is well seasoned. If it's a pot that's been used a lot, those pores, the cast iron is porous. Right. Those pores opening and closing, you get flavors trapped in there, and those flavors get to meshing. And somebody made a remark several years ago that kind of stuck with me that they were talking about somebody else talking about cooking in cast iron and using your grandmother's cast iron. And you cooking with your grandmother, because your grandmother's flavors are being released out of that porous iron as you cook.
Now, would you say that? How did I want to word this question properly? So you're talking about cast aluminum and then cast iron. Does cast aluminum not have a propensity to warp with heat?
It will warp, but you got to get it up to about 1,200 degrees.
So we're not there yet.
I'm not talking about cast aluminum. This is thick as a Pepsi can. I'm talking about cast aluminum that's 1/2 to 3/4 inch thick. Mm-hmm. It'll take a lot of heat. It won't take as much heat as cast iron will. But if you're gonna cook something at 1,200 degrees, it's done toasted anyhow. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So if you're using, as you said, your grandmother's cast iron, and I actually have a pan that's one of my grandmother's frying cast iron frying skillet. Are you using a cobbler pan? Do you have a specific one for each dish that you're going to make? You just clean it out, and then if you need one that's a certain size, you use that one. So certain flavors don't come out in certain other things, or is that not necessarily an issue?
No, that's not an issue. That's not really an issue. And most of let me clarify one thing. You mentioned cobbler pan. Most of what I use of course I use some all of it. I've got Dutch ovens, I've got skillets, I've got pots that are like wash pots for making large amounts of stew and stuff like that. But mostly what I cook on and when I talk about using coals on bottom and coals on top, I'm pretty much referring to what's referred to as a camp Dutch oven,
right?
Which has 3 legs on it and has a rimmed lid, that you can pile coals on the lid for heat.
And you don't run into any trouble with ashes dumping into the food when you're taking the lid off or anything like that?
I think I have done that one time, and I made it a point not to do it anymore.
Is it easy to do? I mean, how do you kind of maintain that so you don't?
It's easy to do. There's different lead lifters on the market. A lot of people use a claw hammer or a pair of channel locks or some other kind of pliers. Regular hand pliers. But there's tools called lead lifters that are specifically designed and made for lifting the leads off of Dutch ovens. Lodge makes a lead lifter that works real good, but you could, if you don't watch what you're doing, you can dump a lid full of coals in your pot. There's a guy out in I think he's out in Arizona that a Mr. Mayer that makes a Mayer lead lifter that is wonderful. I've got a dozen or so of his lead lifters that I use. Matter of fact, it's all I use. Oh. It's like a vice grip lead lifter. You attach it to the lead and you squeeze the handle and you've got total control of that lead. You can do anything you want to with it. And I've never dumped ashes with a Mayer lead lifter. They're awesome. It's an awesome product. Mr. Mayer is to be commended.
Well, it's like I'm sitting here partially flabbergasted and partially amazed that it seems like we've gone into this whole different subculture that I really didn't know anything about, and that obviously like people like yourself, and I'm sure just like there's a subculture for barbecue people, whether it be in the backyard or in the competition arenas, probably something very similar going on with Dutch oven cooks. I would imagine that there's Dutch oven competitions and stuff like that.
There's Dutch oven associations, and there's competitions, and there's gatherings. They call them dogs, DOGs, Dutch oven gathering. I want to share something kind of ironic with you about outdoor cooking and Dutch ovens. When I got into competition cooking, I had been competition barbecue cooking. I had been cooking on Dutch ovens for a while. Right. And and I thought Dutch oven cooking and barbecuing went hand in hand. I done it both. I done both of them. I Dutch oven cooked and I barbecued, and I did it, and I thought everybody else done it. And my first exposure to other people with my Dutch oven cooking was, matter of fact, Kevin Bevington, homebbq.com. I went to Kevin's class, his first ever competition barbecue class held in Dothan, Alabama. Went up there and on Friday night before the class, there were several of us there that we had a everybody brought a dish supper. Right. And I said, well, I'll cook a pineapple upside down cake and a brownie, and I'll do it in a Dutch oven. And I was so scared. I had cooked brownies before, and chocolate is something that is real delicate in a Dutch oven. You either nail it, you cook it perfectly, or you burn it. And every time I had done it up to that point, I had burned it. Oh. I'd burnt the bottom to a point where, I dump it out. I'd have to take a knife and cut off about an inch on the bottom that was burnt, and the rest of it was fine.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was scared to death because these other folks. I had cooked a couple of competitions, and some of these other folks I knew were more experienced cooks than myself, and like I said, I thought they'd done it too. People like Green Eggs, Big Green Eggs and Ham, Dan, Sam Grogan of Just for Fun. They were there. Bubba Q was there.
Right.
Several people was there, and and I felt kind of intimidated as far as the barbecue part and as far as the Dutch oven cooking part, because I thought they'd done it as well. Well, come to find out, they had never even seen it done. Right. And and I nailed the pineapple upside down cake, and I nailed the brownie, and they were just amazed. And it's almost got to the point where now if I show up at a barbecue contest and I don't have a Dutch oven with me, I might as well pack my stuff up and go home.
Now, have you actually ever competed in a barbecue contest and done it Dutch Oven Jones and not done the smoker?
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, I have.
How'd that work out for you?
Last year, each year on Labor Day weekend, FBA has a fun cook.
Right.
It's carried out, the same as a regular contest. You got meat inspection, you got cooks meeting, everything. Just turn in boxes, just like a regular barbecue contest, but there's no points. There's no points or anything, and it's a good opportunity to try new stuff. You can turn in multiple entries, and have it judged by certified judges and so forth. So it's a good place to try things. And I'd been wanting to do it, and I wasn't scared of my Dutch oven abilities. But I didn't really want to jeopardize my FBA points.
Right.
I was having a pretty good run on points, and I didn't want to jeopardize that any. So it was the perfect opportunity, and I checked with the rest of the board to make sure that it was legal, and the reps as well. As far as I could tell from reading the rules, it was legal. I was just using a different vessel.
Sure.
Same fuel and everything. And so I said, yeah. So I cooked it. I cooked the whole contest. I cooked chicken ribs, pork and brisket in Dutch ovens. I had people coming up into my trailer to make sure I didn't have a WSM or something stuck up in there. But I had, I think I run 11 Dutch ovens. I had, a couple of them had brisket. 2 or 3 of them had pork. A couple of them had ribs. Some had chicken, so forth. I think I had 11 running in total. I carried 13 with me. I run all of them at 2.
Right.
I come in out of 20 some odd teams. Come in, I think it was 13th place chicken, 11th place pork, 5th place brisket, and 2nd place ribs, and come in 7th overall.
Wow. All Dutch oven cooking barbecue right there.
Yeah. I had people coming up, wanting to know how I got the smoky flavor in there. Did I use liquid smoke? Did I put wood chips inside the pot? And just all kinds of wild stuff. And I made up some stuff. I didn't never tell them what I'd done, but I made up a good story.
All right. So do you want to come clean and tell everybody that you injected hickory liquid smoke in everything, or no?
Well, I'd come clean, but I'd have to kill you, and then I'd have to kill everybody listening too, and then I'd have to hunt them down to do that. So I can't do that.
No,
I ain't got time for all that.
Yeah, it's never good to kill that many people listening to the Barbecue Central show. That's true, especially the host. I don't care too much about the listeners myself, but that's all right. We are talking with Forrest Dillmore, Forrest's Fine Foods. He is the pitmaster of Forrest Fine Foods competition team. He finished 2nd overall in 2009 Florida Barbecue Association. Forrest, go ahead and shoot us a website that people can go check out more about you and, of course, about the Dutch oven cooking.
Okay, I've got a website. It's forrestsfinefoods.com. That's pretty easy. That's FORRESTSFINEFOODS.com. And, of course, my email is forrestsfinefoods@yahoo.com. I can be reached that way via phone. I think my phone number is on the website as well, or at most any FBA contest.
Cool. All right. Well, Forrest, I certainly appreciate you taking time to come on after dark and talking to us about the Dutch oven cooking, about Florida Barbecue Association, all that good stuff. Continued success, and let's talk again soon.
All right. Sounds good, Greg. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Take care. There he is, Forrest Dillmore. Man, oh man, guy's a hoot. I'm pumped up. I got to be honest. I'm thinking about going to get my silly ass Dutch oven, but it's got to have the 3 legs though. Otherwise, it's not a Dutch oven. I do have that skillet that I cook bacon in, partly because I just like the way it cooks bacon, and secondly, I think I'm seasoning it while I'm cooking it, with the bacon. So, you don't have to do the oil and then put it in the oven for 350 degrees for an hour just to make sure you're continually seasoning it. I could be way off. I should have asked him about it. Damn it. All right, what did you think? Go ahead. If you want to win, I'll stay on here just for a few more minutes. So you can call in toll-free at 877-448-0433. We have the Whiskey Bent Barbecue T-shirt. We have the Dan from Three Eyes Barbecue 1 pound of rub and T-shirt. We have the Green Leaf Barbecue with the frog mats. A lot of great stuff. Hey, wait. Hold on a second here. Let's go to Huntsville, Alabama. Phil in Huntsville. How are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good, Greg. How about you?
Oh, just wrapping up I think 85% successful show tonight.
I hear you, man. Old Forrest, something else, ain't he?
Forrest is a hoot. But look, I mean, you cut through what us Yankees would call a funny accent, and the guy obviously knows what he's talking about when it comes to not only competition barbecue, but the Dutch oven cooking is certainly a craft in itself, and we're certainly happy to have him get on and kind of talk to us about that and maybe get some more people involved with it. You into that there, Phil?
No, I'm not too much of a Dutch oven man, but I tell you, I've ate some of that good cooking coming off them Dutch ovens that he does, and I'm telling you, it's outstanding.
All right, so you want to win something tonight, Phil, or are you just marking out?
Yeah, what do you got?
All right,
I'm always up to win something.
I know you. All right, so we have frog mats. We have the Green Leaf Barbecue. That's the oak-infused wine wood for your cookers. We have a T-shirt from Whiskey Bent Barbecue. And we also have 1 pound of barbecue rub from Three Eyes Barbecue and a T-shirt from Dan Hickson, who was on tonight with the Ribs Roundtable. So, like 57 things to choose from. Which one would you like?
Hey, I'll take that rub and that T-shirt.
All right, that is yours. The Three Eyes Barbecue Rub, 1 pound, and a T-shirt from Three Eyes. So make sure when you email me your shipping info, Phil, that you include a shirt size.
I'll do that.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling in tonight.
Hey, man. Thanks, Greg.
All right, take care.
Hey, why don't you try to get the stump on there one of these times?
Well, he's quite an elusive character, but I'll keep after him.
All right.
All right, Phil. Take care. Phil White, Huntsville, Alabama. There you go. What was that? No, 877-448-0433. The Three Eyes Barbecue is now gone, so we have a Whiskey Bent Barbecue T-shirt, and we also have the Green Leaf Barbecue Oak Wood that has been infused with wine, W-H-I, wine. Should we take over and under on how many XLs are going to be on that shirt request from Phil? Oh, do I have a guess? You never know. Oh, just correspond. Probably not the time or place for this. Maybe later on when things can be confirmed a little bit later. Next week's After Dark guest confirmed for the 16th, Mike Lake from the Kansas City Barbecue Society. We can talk to him further about the propane cooker thing, if that is potentially going to be reality or not at some point down the road. I know that was shot down during it was either the end of February or some point this month in regards to their BOD meetings as far as letting them in or not. So we can talk to him about that, whatever new changes have happened with the rules for KCBS for this year, 2010 or 2010, however you say it. Plus, he's probably the only person that I will be able to get a hold of and see about the budding controversy that I'm hearing. Maybe some of the Centralites know if Myron Mixon has been banned from Kansas City Barbecue Society competitions. I have not heard back from anybody. It's certainly nothing that I'm looking to really get out there and run with. I'm just looking to see if that was the case because I've heard it through a number of credible sources, but have not heard it through the sanctioning body or him himself, him being Myron. So there you go. All right. Thanks again to Forrest Dillmore for joining me after dark. Oh, see. Look at that. Why does it got to be like that? Thanks again to Forrest Dillmore for joining. His website again, Forrest's, Forrests, Forrests, finefoods.com. His number is on there if you want to talk to him ear to ear. Obviously, he's willing to talk about it all. He's got an email address on there as well. Don't forget Mike Lake coming up after dark next week. We have the Chicken Roundtable with Kelly Wirtz, Joe Amore, and Troy Black. After dark guest week after next, Canadian barbecue expert, TV star, and all-around great guy, Ted Reeder. Yes, Ted, I'm going to get you the beer recipe. I don't use recipes. I try to tell you. I don't have recipes. I'm not that guy, but dare I be left out of a book that you asked me to be in? Never, my friend, never. I'll get you hooked up. I think that's a wrap. We'll see you back next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Barbecue Central Radio Networks for the Barbecue Central Radio Show. And until then, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.